Welcome everyone. This is Anahata, your host for our Blessed Exploration, 3 Hacks for Joy and Genius. An exploration during which I will be your Sherpa as we come into a greater understanding of what it means to reach a state of flow and how that flow then ignites passion, joy, and deep meaning into your life. How it unlocks a connection to all things and you become an open vessel for inspiration and potent purpose. Our journey will be 70 minutes long. There is a limit to the amount of information our brains can process, so please do end any distractions now. Multitasking is not recommended if you wish to up-level during this exploration. It is a self-activated process that will require your focus. You deserve the expansion which is about to occur, and there is no limit to the ways in which this exploration can and will propel you into a higher way of living and being. We've all seen flow, where challenge meets skill, and it's inspiring. It lifts us up. It fills us with appreciation and awe. What if we could reach these states of joy while living our normal lives? Find magic and inspiration in the mundane. Seek to be present, and in that presence, awaken a deep sense of what it means to be alive. Our best experiences don't happen in stress response, confusion, or when we lack the skills to achieve. They happen when we are present, grateful, expectant, motivated, and centered. Flow happens when we actively raise the bar and enjoy the journey for the sake of the journey, not the destination. Join me as I explore with you 3 hacks for joy and genius. I'll use a little bit of science, neurochemistry, quantum physics, energetic medicine, self-activated biological transformation, hermetic laws, the Anahata codes, and tapping into divine intelligence and flow. You deserve to remember how to achieve enjoyment, personal growth, and quantum evolution. From chaos into order, we can choose the center point and expand holistically. The side effect is deep satisfaction, potent purpose, meaningful and loving connections, vibrancy, abundance, and awakening your genius. It is my honor to have you as my guest. All right, so let's dive in. We are going to go fast, and I'm going to cover a lot of ground. Primarily, I will deliver to you how to assign meaning towards even simple tasks in order to maximize joy along the way, the power of goals and the granular components leading up to them which keep you motivated and rewarded, the importance of focus and learning how to control where your attention goes, your 3 brains and the value of getting them to work in harmony with each other, how to automate the best case scenario and deliver meaningful contribution which deepens your purpose and satisfaction with life, how to take ownership of your total energy signature in order to achieve your full potential. I'm also going to be inviting you to take a 6-month journey with me for joy and genius. And of course, I will share with you the 3 hacks for joy and genius, which encapsulate today's exploration. So let us first set the sacred space. Just sit back and notice. Whatever you're perceiving of in this now moment, the ever unfolding now, the only thing which is. So just notice your surroundings, the room or space you're in, the noises which are around you, my voice. What do you see and hear? Take it all in as a judgeless witness. This is your totality of sensory perception in this now moment. This is external to you. So now become aware of you as a person, your breath. Become aware of the energy inside your body. Feel the weight of your body, gravity pulling down. Now just take a deep breath as you allow the outside to be as it is. Now allow the inside to also be as it is. Deep breaths of allowance. Now become aware of your awareness, your consciousness. The you that is perceiving of the inner and outer worlds you are witnessing. Not the you that you see in the mirror, but the real you. The self that is perception, that is awareness, the perceiver of all. The perceiver of what arises in this now moment and the next. And who will always be and has always been. Who is it that is perceiving this? Again, not your persona. That is just a storyline. You are not your story. You are not your past or your future. You are pure consciousness. So to set the sacred space, I would like you to tap into this limitlessness and vast intelligence. Through this flow and connection with your divine self, unity merges all together, and we can perceive of things previously outside of us. The illusion of separation dissipates. The ego is integrated. And we arise as warriors of spirit. Here as the collective who is harnessing our skills in this dimension to usher in a new reality of elevated consciousness. You are that important. We are safe. We are loved. We are all. We are. Let us journey now. When we are born, we are open, still fresh from ultimate oneness and unveiled unity. Into these bodies we come. And the illusion of self and separation begins as soon as we can understand. Our brains begin to be programmed as soon as we can understand that we are separate. That is, of course, the illusion of this world, that we are separate from one another, which we are not, but that is the veil, the program we find ourselves in, and it has its purpose, its way of motivating us into the new. We begin to sift and sort using our five senses. What we see, we believe. What we think, we begin to assign meaning to. That meaning activates hormones which are felt as emotions. Those emotions add further meaning to our experiences. And we fire and wire our automation. We build our personas, our personalities. Our egos then strengthen as we reinforce this false separation. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there's only so much our brains can process at once. So we must build a hefty database of prior opinions, judgments, lessons, experiences from which to stabilize into in order to function in the world and free up the space to give attention to the things that we are focusing on in the now moment, what we have bandwidth to focus on. And they say that's only about 5%. The rest is on default. So the meaning we assign things and play as solid fact comes from a lot of sources. Our senses, what we perceive of as happening in reality, our stories, the thoughts we think and the emotional responses which arise due to those thoughts, whether they are happening or not in physical reality, the beliefs and attitudes of others in our family, in our society, in our media. We are an open slate until around age 8, when we finally come out of the theta brainwave, which had taken in everything as fact, regardless of its truth. The formation of our personas is complete. The you that you see when you look in the mirror. And we continue to add layers around this based on those basic programmed truths. Dr. Joe Dispenza says 95% of who you are by the time you are 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors and emotional reactions that create an identity subconsciously. 5% of your conscious mind that is plugged into reality is working against 95% of what you've memorized subconsciously. And while we do have free will, guys, that free will is limited to our level of consciousness. So I'm going to ask you, will you graduate out of your ego state and evolve into unity beyond the self? It's entirely up to you. Now, you've got a very good probability of being that way because you magnetized this presentation to you and you actually tuned in to hear it. Our level of consciousness is directly related to our fulfillment in life. Not the ego-based fulfillment that is fleeting and conditional, but the soul-level fulfillment, which comes with deep and open connection and expansion to all things. And that merges with infinite potential and allows miracle after miracle to flow. Indeed, we become expectant of it. If we have been told and believe that the world is filled with unlimited potential or is filled with limitations, it is so. And so it is. Our thoughts become emotions, our emotions become actions, our behaviors become personalities, and our personalities become our personal realities, what we experience day by day by day. The universe conspires to bring us that which we believe, that which we do, and that which we are. We are so free that we can choose chains. And many of us do struggle with the illusion of separation and exclude ourselves from our innate joy and potential in ways such as focusing on the past and fearing it for the future, allowing stress to contract and make erratic our energy field and expression, making excuses, including self-sabotaging behavior rooted in fear of failure or judgment, not being present because of the mundane and viewing the day-to-day as a chore, energizing the obstacles of life rather than finding solutions, closing our minds to the new and becoming rigid in default thoughts and behaviors, not believing we can reach our goals, whether health-related, relationship, financial, career, or personal. This is why my mission in life is to empower you to take ownership of your entire energy signature in order to live a happy life and deliver meaningful contribution. So many of us hold ourselves apart from our joy and genius because we allow fear to get in the way. In fact, it is said that 70% of us are defaulted to states of stress response day to day. 70% of us are in lockdown mode, power save, just getting by. Now, I assume that isn't you entirely since you are here. And yes, we can dip into it, but you are empowering yourself to choose. Because we know stress contracts our energy fields, and we have a limited ability to perceive of and process things when we are in survival mode. It's, again, a place of lockdown in order to conserve our energy. Indeed, fear is the number one limiter preventing you from reaching your goals. It's also a liar, assigning meaning based on flawed premise and limited understanding. And it occurs when we are in our ego minds, when we are using our amphibian brains, when we are allowing our past programming to run the show and dictate how we perceive of things and the patterns we continue to weave, which are usually based on limitations that actually never existed in the first place. And it makes sense because the ego mind wants us to be safe, to stay alive, and so we default into states of fight, flight, or frozen, and that becomes largely our response to life because we are creatures of habit. It's gonna take losing yourself, detaching from the self in order to experience the new that isn't tied to yourself and who you thought you were. This is the work. This is also why a lot of people don't want to do it. It will take rewriting new stories that align with where you want to be rather than continuing with the script that you've been given from your programming and past responses. So let's spell it out as far as your ultimate choices. And remember, only you can choose for you. And only you can choose again. And only in the now do you choose, provided you aren't living in the past or projecting into the future. So our mind is either rigid or malleable, fixed or open, contracted or growing, animalistic or divine, surviving or creating. The ego is rooted in the mammalian brain, the autonomic responses, which are wired into our personas and we have adopted as reality. To stray beyond them means the unknown, and our ego minds do not feel safe there. So the animal is about survival. On the other end of your reality is your creator self, the divine within, selfless, limitless, certain and assured, optimistic, free, no limitations, no tainted judgments, taking it all in real time, aware of the magic of life, grateful for each breath. The divine is about creating. So as I read through these two vantages, I'd like you to think about the fact that the divine view feels good because it is aligned with who we are. At our essence, we are unconditional love. We are divinity, contained in this bodily experience, in this plane of reality, in order to expand the fabric of the universe through free will. You may also notice the solidity versus lightness, the matter versus space. And let's face it, we so love to make things hard in this dimension. Our defaults may make it appear that we don't even have choices sometimes. And of course, that means giving our power away and sinking into self-imposed belief that we are victims. And so that becomes real as well. Of course, our truth will be our truth, and it will be true. The universe will conspire to prove it to you. We get what we validate and entertain. What we focus on, we energize, and we make it so. And it's only our intention and focus which energizes something into being through that asking in the first place. We magnetize to us our circumstances based on the thoughts we have and the emotions which activate in response to those thoughts. And because 95% are ego-based defaults, this means we have a lot of options to make edits and upgrades, to create new timeline potentials. But it will take consciousness and building new habits. The two states of mind and body, which become our reality, are survival versus creation, stress versus homeostasis, contraction versus expansion, disease versus health, imbalance versus order, breakdown, opposite repair, degeneration, regeneration, fear, anger, sadness, juxtapose love, joy, trust, knowing, and gratitude. We can either be selfish or selfless. There is the environment, body, and time. Or there is no time, no body, no thing. We're either losing energy or creating it. We're either in an emergency mode or growth and repair phase. We are either object-focused or open-focused, separate or connected. Reality is determined either by our senses or beyond our senses. We live in cause and effect, or we are causing an effect. The world is filled with limited possibilities or all possibilities, either incoherent or coherent, either known or unknown. Interesting, right? So, what do you also notice about this list? When we are focused upon the self, we are on the contained and contracted side. When we are focused on the all, we are expanding and limitless. This is our natural state, of course, and the illusion is that we are in our bodies. And so what we desire beyond ourself is our true nature, our essence. And it's how we long to create and do create. It is how we tap into our joy and genius. So before we move ahead in today's exploration and I give you some solid tips to help you choose your divine expression and expansion over your default contraction, so that you can build a life of joy which unlocks your genius, I'd like to first install an assisting frequency which will support us in opening and seeing the polarity of life, and then choosing the path that is most centered and aligned with the future we desire, while seeing through the illusion of separation and feeling comfortable with our infinite and genius selves. Not the ego, look at me self, that's not what I mean by genius, but the true authentic self, which is the all, which is your soul, which is your essence, your expression. And in the spirit of harmonious flow is for all, and therefore selfless. When we have options, we have choices, and when we can assign new meaning, which we'll talk about in a second, we can flip things from fearful and hopeless to joyful and optimistic. We can set new defaults for our best life. So the Anahata code, which will get us there, comes from the alchemy category, specifically the 7 hermetic laws. And within that, one will give us access to activating the type of choices I am talking about. And that is the law of polarity. Now, we saw on the last slide 2 realities, animalistic versus divine. And we can choose. And that choice doesn't deny the existence of the other, it merely empowers us to choose. We exercise our right as sovereign beings to decide what we want more of and what we want less of. We are creators. And so the principle of polarity, as described by the Kabbalion, by the 3 initiates, is everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. This is what gives us choice and a way to decide what we want to create. It is our response to the environment which activates our passion and purpose, or our pain and limitations. In conscious awareness of the now, we can begin to build a life of joy and meaningful contribution. So let's install this assisting frequency so that you can unlock the paradoxical truth that the opposite of any truth is not false, but rather another perspective, another truth. We get what we believe. We get what we command and validate as reality. This can be very empowering to those who have mastered this choice. Do not be tempted to first blame yourself for magnetizing all the uncomfortable things in your life. You can skip that. Our karmic patterns do not need to be dwelled upon any longer in order to integrate and move on. We have evolved past that. So this code will also assist you with that if you're struggling with the past or blame or shame. Go ahead and place your left palm up so it's facing the sky, and your right hand on your heart. You don't need to say these words I am installing for us collectively. We ask for, align with, and allow these Anahata codes. With gratitude, we activate the assisting frequency for the principle of polarity. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 9876543210. 0123456789 555 555 555 9876543210. 0123456789 555 555 555 9876543210. 0123456789 555 555 555 9876543210. 0123456789 555 555 555 9876543210. Now both hands on your heart and breathe with gratitude. It is so awesome. So let's explore some hacks for joy and genius as this assisting frequency unlocks deeper and deeper understandings for your bliss and expansive purpose. Now, to frame this, I'd like you to think back to a time in your life when you were really happy. Not as relief from something else, right? Not as a, thank goodness I'm not in stress response, right? Anything's better than that. I'm talking about true happiness, when you're really just happy to be happy. There were most likely some common things. There was a lack of stress, right? You weren't worrying about the past or fearing for the future. There was most likely a lack of self-awareness. So you weren't self-conscious per se. You weren't worried about the self or wondering what others were thinking about you. There may have been an alternate experience of time where seconds turned into hours or hours flew by in a matter of what appear to be seconds. So time, after all, is just a container. And when we are beyond ourselves, time behaves in different ways. Now, in this deep state of happiness, you were most likely challenged, yet capable. You were neither bored nor anxious. You had no walls. You were expansive, limitless, suitable. You were enough. You weren't tied down to yourself or your persona. You were probably achieving. Simultaneously aware of that achievement, you were grateful, aware of your happiness, not to satisfy the ego, but for the sake of joy itself. When we enter this state of being, we begin to entrain with our divine selves. We tap into divine intelligence, and things seem to just flow in ways that bring us great peace and ultimate awareness. When we are in a state of flow, we derive enjoyment. We feel a sense of personal growth and evolution. And despite being largely outside of self as a persona, when the moment is done, the experience ends. It ends up strengthening our positive qualities as a self as a result. So we have leveled up. The journey becomes the destination, and the act of being is the reward in and of itself. We do it for the sake of doing it, not the outcome. So it's optimal experience. And there is an author, Csikszentmihalyi, who coined the word flow. And he has studied states of flow for many years, which illustrate this point. And he says, contrary to what we usually believe, moments like these, the best moments in our lives, are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times, although such experiences can be enjoyable, if we have worked hard to attain them. The best moments usually occur when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. Optimal experience is thus something that we make happen. For a child, it could be placing with trembling fingers the last block on a tower she has built, higher than any she has built so far. For a swimmer, it could be trying to beat his own record. For a violinist, mastering an intricate musical passage. For each person, there are thousands of opportunities, challenges to expand ourselves. So let's talk quickly about the benefits of living in flow. A deeper sense of control, especially of your inner life, your attention, your mood, your willpower. Joy, regardless of the outer circumstance. So number 2, joy transcendent of what is happening around you. Not happy because of something external, but rather happy from the inside out. 3, a continual expansion of skills and awakening of inner genius, which leads to passion and desire to deliver that passion to the world. So expansion, genius, passion, desire. And your day-to-day, even the mundane, is filled with serenity and satisfaction when you are in flow. So those are the benefits of flow. And it really is a means to an end. The hacks that I'm about to share with you are the benefits, and the benefits are inherent in the hacks. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we do the things I'm about to tell you, the more we will find ourselves in flow and receiving the benefits which come with it. Ultimately, optimal experience. So here are the 3 flow hacks for joy and genius. The polar end of each of these is, in general, a good description of an unsatisfying life. So in that way, you may view the problems as having the following answers woven within the 2 opposing sides of the same subject, the animal side or the divine side. Hack number 1, control where your mind goes. Csikszentmihalyi says, the information we allow into consciousness becomes extremely important. It is, in fact, what determines the content and quality of life. I want to read that again. The information we allow into our consciousness becomes extremely important. It is, in fact, what determines the content and quality of life. And guys, this goes so far into every nook and cranny because we get what we think about. Like attracts like. What we allow in our consciousness becomes what we experience. Now, since we aren't always conscious of our thoughts, remember we're running on about 95% autopilot based on our subconscious. In order to truly control where your mind goes, you need to understand that you have 3 brains: your subconscious, your conscious, and your superconscious. Your subconscious, we've covered that, the default programs, automated default settings, your limbic brain, which activates primal emotions centered in the pain body, primarily running on the ego mind. That's brain number 1. The conscious mind, brain number 2. That is your awareness and intention, what you are conscious of. Now, it is your place of power. It's the now moment. It is the gateway into what you file inside your subconscious, what you allow. And then you have the superconscious, which is divine intelligence, unity, lack of ego. This is your authentic self, which is selfless, the part of you that is fully aware that you are limitless and can create anything you desire in this world. Now, you can also imagine these three brains as body, mind, and soul. What is your body, the default settings. What is becoming is your mind, where you're putting your attention. Before anything manifested, it was first a thought. And the soul is, of course, the superconscious, the all that is, unity and limitless intelligence, and all that comes with that, your sixth sense beyond the senses of this physical world. So body, mind, and soul, subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. When you can get all three brains working in harmony with each other, you are going to be in a deep state of flow. So, hack number 1, control where your mind goes. And it is important because we get what we focus on. So if we are allowing our defaults rooted in fear and contraction to hold us back, we will indeed live pretty ordinary lives at best and pretty devastating lives at worst. Now, if you want to explore remapping your subconscious programs in order to build new defaults of success, I do have a free workshop at www.yourbestasdefault.com, but do that later. For now, the easiest way to control where your mind goes is to be present. This will also allow you to expand, be grateful for, and savor life's moments, which brings us to hack number 2. The second hack for joy and genius. Derive joy in the mundane through challenges. We've got to stay on the edge of flow. Flow does not exist in overwhelm, when the task at hand is too difficult and we don't possess the skills or confidence to get the job done. Anxiety and frustration don't lead to flow. You can assume that. And flow also doesn't exist on the other end, when we are either bored or just overly qualified, right? If something's too easy and we don't have to think too much about what we're doing, we are no longer present in the moment. Our minds begin to wander and we end up splitting our energy either into thinking about the past or thinking about the future, but we're definitely not in the now. So the second hack, derive joy in the mundane through challenges. To visualize this, imagine a large wave. And to maximize joy in your life, you want to stay on the edge of that wave. You don't want to be underneath the wave, overwhelmed and not able to even swim. And you don't want to be propelled way beyond into anxiety about where you're going to land, flailing around, right? We want to stay on the edge. That's where you're going to be present. And in doing so, you're going to lead a much more fulfilling life. Now, this does not mean you have to be doing something challenging to make it a challenge. Right? You're not going to suddenly become this overachiever who's addicted to adrenaline. No. You could be washing dishes. But how can you be most efficient? So make it a game. How fast can you do it? How efficient can you be? How can you get in the flow where challenge meets skill and push yourself into higher levels of skill and challenge? Guys, goals are powerful. They keep you motivated. And they can be huge goals, which will affect all aspects of your life, or small goals, like getting through the next 25 minutes of a boring subject with joy and with as little distraction as possible, with focus. And while, of course, the large goals are a critical part of continued success and evolution in any area of your life, setting smaller, granular goals leading up to them is going to release powerful neurochemicals in your brain that will acknowledge your effort, that will make you feel good. Chemicals like dopamine, they call the reward drug, gets released when you set and reach your smaller goals, which will then keep you motivated and hungry for the next and the next, no matter what the task is. Simultaneously, when you do this, when you derive joy in the mundane through challenges, you're going to build new skill sets, and you're going to be tapping into higher states of awareness due to being present and focused and achieving, yet challenged. This is where your genius lies. This is where you're going to start seeing the world in a way where you can improve things. And by seeing new solutions to the problems you are facing, over time, you will set defaults of success. And your best will eventually be a default. A Navy SEAL was quoted as saying, "We don't rise to the occasion. We sink to the level of our training." So true, guys. When we can up-level our skills, our worst-case scenarios will be far superior to someone's best. And that's not in the spirit of, look at me, I'm better than you. It's in the spirit of progression for self. It doesn't mean we won't encounter problems along the way. It just means that we will be more equipped to stay centered and rise to those challenges and even view them rather than a challenge in the sense of feeling defeated before we begin, but more so as a task that can be fulfilling when we achieve it, right? Because we can either be fulfilled or filled with dread. We feel ourselves whichever way we're swinging, depending on the side of the wave we chose to be on. So let's ride the top, okay? Derive joy in the mundane through challenges in the now. Which brings us to hack number 3. Flip the resistance by assigning new meaning. I love it. So this is one of the most life-changing things you can do to set new defaults so that your defaults are aligned with where you want to go versus your pain. And that is to stop viewing resistance as bad or something to avoid. Okay? All pain is the wishing for something to be other than it is. That's what pain is, the wishing for something to be other than it is. So then, when we can center in the now moment and accept what is, that very acceptance brings contentment, transcendent of circumstances, and it is our freedom. Besides, when we are up against something that isn't aligned with where we want to be, it's a helpful clue as to what is within our magnetism that needs editing, that's outdated, that's presenting itself as a reflection of inner discordant behavior and attitudes and perceptions and programming, right? Because we only experience what we are matched to. So this means we are encountering that obstacle through our resonance with it. This is how we can take ownership of our total energy signature in order to achieve our full potential. Not by casting things to shadow, but by ceasing to judge them and instead view all things as an invitation into deeper accord with our desires because of the helpful clues it gives us as to why we haven't gotten there yet. I hope that makes sense. When we can see something we don't want and then examine the core of that resistance, we can then edit the meaning of that resistance, and it's no longer going to persist because we won't be pushing against it anymore. It won't be active in our vibrational asking. We will see less and less of it because we aren't focused on it. It's not even in our subconscious anymore. It's not in our reality. That doesn't happen through suppression or pushing against or making something wrong. That only sends it to shadow where it festers. So if we can use our emotional responses to experiences, both dense emotions and elevated ones, as helpful alert systems, we can begin to understand what programs are blocking us from alignment with our best path, and we can make meaningful edits which lead to major progress in all areas of our life. It's called transmutation. It's called alchemy. When you change the energy, you change the manifestation of the mass. And think about it. It's in the way we are perceiving of something that it is so in the first place. It is the meaning we give to something which causes a response. And it is our response which magnetizes the future. Now, the assisting frequency of polarity, which we installed earlier, is going to assist us greatly in being aware of what we are resisting in order to assign new meaning to that resistance, which is in alignment with where we are headed versus where we've been. We can either respond with disempowering thoughts and create fear-based meaning, or we can flip the resistance by assigning meaning which empowers us to a new state of harmonious flow while unlocking new passion and purpose through the space which is no longer tied up in the ego's rigidity and limitations. Let's talk about the divine paradox, and then I will recap the 3 hacks. The half-wise, recognizing the comparative unreality of the universe, imagine that they may defy its laws. Such are vain and presumptuous fools, and they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reason of their folly. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, use law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy and thus triumphant. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. So again, guys, not denying what is, but simply allowing it and transforming any outdated meanings we've used to give it a more productive and challenging way of existing within our energy. And as we rise above and meet those challenges, our joy increases through that riding of the now edge, where challenge meets skills, and upping those skills and finding new challenges, even in just how we view things. These don't have to be actual challenges. Remember, half of it is mental. Thinking, doing, being. For example, if someone rejects you, how is that helping to define the meaningful relationships you deserve? See how we flipped that? You don't say, oh, I'm unworthy, I'm unvaluable, no one loves me. Thank you, teacher. How is this helping to define the meaningful relationships that I deserve? If someone says, no, I don't want what you're selling, whatever business you're in, how does that actually help to clarify who does want your service, and in that clarity, magnetize to you who needs you? If a challenge presents itself, what lack of skill is it that's being illuminated, which if you decide to practice will eventually give you the enjoyment you're seeking because you will be capable? So if a challenge presents itself and you aren't up to snuff yet, don't take that as defeat and giving up. It's outlining the skill needed for an opportunity you are being presented with, which will simultaneously bring more joy and passion to your life. So again, the 3 hacks to joy and genius are: 1, control where your mind goes, or your minds, plural. Derive joy even in the mundane through challenges. Flip the resistance through assigning new meanings. And of course, that edits out the past resonance you had, which was appearing as conflict, pain, or fear. So as you can see, this will require consistent focus and effort. In fact, it will require a new way of living, a new persistence, which becomes habit into new ways of being. It will take thinking, doing, and being, repeat. Thinking, doing, being, repeat. Just understanding the principles I mentioned today will not get you there. In fact, the information won't even make it into your subconscious mind if you don't create the action needed to fire and wire this new reality into the way you show up in the world. So basically, you're going to need a habit of persistence to realize your dreams. Now, I've been getting into the teachings of both Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill. They have magnetized to me through my asking the question, how can I support my tribe in living their best lives? I was seeing so many people wanting transformation, and they are pulling codes and dreaming and then giving up, or not following through, or not being consistent, or not taking the time to remap their outdated beliefs and then follow up with action. This asking led me to discover flow, which led me to discover 3 hacks that I just mentioned. And I didn't discover them. They just became very apparent through collaboration of everything that I was ingesting and surrounding myself with. And So synchronicities combined with inner remembrance to control where your mind goes, take joy through challenge, and flip the resistance. Again, to build new habits, the key is persistence. So I wanted to throw this slide together that summarizes the cornerstones from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There are 5 keys to realizing your dreams. So let's end today's presentation with understanding what it's going to take to reach a harmonious flow and to reach your dreams in a way which you can then see, taste, touch, smell, feel in this reality. 1, having a definite purpose backed by a burning desire for its fulfillment. Okay? And look, that purpose doesn't have to be to invent something or grow an empire of a business. It can be to find your soulmate, or to heal yourself, or to just live a life without anxiety or depression. Whatever it is, a purpose backed by desire. So having a why and a burning desire to fulfill that why. Number 2, have a plan, and actually have a definite plan, and then take continuous action towards it. Okay, most people can do number 1, and when it comes to putting the nose to the grindstone or pedal to the metal and taking continuous action towards it, we forget to reduce that big goal into small granular goals that are going to give us rewards as we go. And we give up. We think it's too overwhelming. We're not on the edge of the wave, are we? We're in the, I don't have the skills to accomplish it under the water. Number 3, seeing the plan unfold as if it is so, with absolute faith that it will be, for it already is, vibrationally. So, seeing that plan unfold in unwavering faith that it is. For it is real. It is there. We just need to become a match to it. Number 4, have a mind which is closed tightly against all negative or discouraging influences. Do not witness the doubt, the lack of ability, the naysayers, those that say you can't do it, that aren't on board with your desire and plan. Your truth is your truth, and it's true. Right? Close your mind from anything that is not supporting you and validating your plan. And then 5, building a friendly alliance of 2 or more people who are working towards a common outcome. That's called a mastermind. For those of you who were in my Vishada program, you know exactly what a mastermind is. It's basically an alliance of 2 or more people who are working towards a common outcome. Okay, guys, so we are going to wrap up. I want to invite you to apply to my accelerator, which will implement new defaults of success in all areas of your life. It's called For Joy and Genius. It's a 6-month program. We are going to implement the 3 hacks we learned about today and much, much more. I'm going to combine the Anahata codes, quantum physics, mindfulness, flow, logic, intuition, hermetic laws, and more to empower you and awaken your inner alchemist. The side effects of the program include clarity, joy, focus, ease, daily rewards, vibrancy, satisfaction, loving connections, fulfillment, success, abundance, increased consciousness, talent, drive, potential, and in general, optimal experience in the ever unfolding now moment. Now, don't be surprised if you enter the program in order to balance a health issue that you have, and suddenly you end up launching a rewarding career helping others with the same issue. This goes for any area you decide to work on improving through this accelerator. It's a holistic approach to living. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm going to teach you the fastest way to master something, and that is to teach it, right? To do it. And there are always people who are seeking the information you now have the ability to illuminate. After all, we are way showers, light workers, here to light the path. Now, there are several levels available for the 6-month accelerator, and they depend upon your budget and your needs. So in order to place you in the appropriate level of the program, the next step is to fill out the application, which will alert me as to what would be best suited for you right now. And if I feel the program will support you where you currently are with where you want to go, you'll be invited to have a discovery session with me for free, during which I will discuss the levels of the program so that you can then determine which one, if any, are a synchronistic next step for your evolution. So the application itself is a very clarifying exercise, which includes asking yourself questions about where you are currently and where you want to be mentally, physically, emotionally, ranging from a basic monthly membership all the way up to certifications to teach this information. The discovery, development, deployment of your especially pure medicine, your potent purpose, and everywhere in between. This program has many tiers and options based on your current and expanding goals for the next phase of your life. At the basic level, the program consists of daily 5-minute framers. These are going to be 5-minute audios from me to deliver bite-sized focus, consistency, clarity, and over time up-level your awareness and skill sets so that you can train up and set new defaults of flow and achievement. So literally, you're just going to click and play a 5-minute audio each day with no other expectation. Compounded over a 6-month period, you will train up your skills, your consciousness, your defaults. You're going to ignite passion and purpose, and you're going to take the steps needed to actually live the life you know is possible. And I'm going to overlay optional activities such as journaling. Again, there's many tiers. So the framers are the reinforcement in order to edit out any habits, patterns which are currently challenging your expansion and zapping your joy, right? The daily framers will take care of most of the habits of persistence we talked about, which are required for lasting change. That final element being building a friendly alliance of 2 or more people who are working on a common outcome. We're going to accomplish that through weekly, hour-long Zoom meetings, okay? And again, it's designed to get all 3 minds on board, claim our future in faith, celebrate the evidence, flip the resistance, and otherwise marinate in the imagination and having of our new lives. Ask, align, allow with gratitude. That's why it's called a thank tank. And unwavering faith so that it is. And of course, we're going to be in alliance with others who will magnify and balm our focus and goals. In a nutshell, this program contains the entire pattern of success via joy and motivation, inspiration and flow. And it will get you past the threshold of the unknown, which is where most people stop, and into new territory of doing, which leads to new habits of being. Your best will emerge as default, and your joy will be. It will just be part of who you are and what you attract as you hone in and deliver your meaningful, potent purpose. So thanks again for spending time with me today. To apply, simply click on this slide or go to the handouts section of this presentation. It's in the description and also on the right-hand side of the replay. I want to let you know the discovery sessions will be scheduled on a first come, first served basis. So guys, the first step is applying. You will then be sent a link to my calendar. And the application is a clarifier of where you're headed and if the program is going to be able to do that for you. So I will leave you with one thought. What we desire is already a vibrational reality. How we choose to move towards it will determine how we experience it, whether joyfully, anxiously, overwhelmed, confident, defeated, certain, or fearful. All realities exist simultaneously. What you think, then act upon, and do, you become. It's your move. May it be blissful. Your soul is asking you to align with your inner vision. Will you prioritize it or make excuses? Will you allow or block it? Will you continue to live in merely survival mode? Or is it finally time to thrive? I look forward to accelerating with you. Namaste.